Hello, my wonderful friends. Today we are going to make some tassels for a scarf, for the Chloe scarf specifically. However, this is great for anytime you want to make tassels for a blanket. I like to go the very use what you have on hand way to make these. I think I learned it from another tutorial that I came across for a blanket, and this is how I do them. So if you have an easier way, fantastic. But today, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do my best to help you along and make this as hopefully as simple as possible without your hand absolutely cramping into oblivion. First, what you need. Obviously, you need scissors. You got to be cutting a lot of yarn. I like to use a normal journal size book. This is my Year in Yarn book. Shameless plug for my friend Mackenzie at Summer Day Crochet. And this is like a 5x7-ish standard journal size. And this is what I like to use to get enough length when I'm wrapping for my tassels. So first thing I want to do, I want to cut a very generous piece of yarn, okay? You will not need this much, but I always like to have more than I need, okay? I'm a glutton. What can I say? For the Chloe scarf, this one particular, I used 12 different colors. Ergo, I am going to use all 12 colors for my tassels on each end. So even though I have 12 colors here, so I don't have to duplicate any, what you could do is, let's say you had 4 colors, you could get those 4 colors, put them together, and maybe do a pre-wrap for what we're gonna do here for as many times as I tell you. And you could cut those, set those strands to the side, do another 4, wrap the way I tell you, and then set those cut them, set them with the others, and then do a third. And then once you're ready, you just put them all together, and we come to this official portion where you get your yarn set to actually tie the tassel and get it going. So take my book, and I take this nice, extraordinarily extra long piece of yarn that I will not possibly need all of. All right, I'm going to set this yarn across the top, because what this yarn is going to do is tie, I'm going to have yarn on either side of this because I'm wrapping. It's going to come up and it's going to tie my my strands in half, basically. And I promise, just follow the steps, you'll understand it. To keep this in place so it's not obviously just falling off, my little hack is to open the pages of the journal or the book a little bit and just kind of bring it down the side a little. Don't overthink this. And then you got it out and only have to worry about, because you got to hold your journal on one side anyway. So now it's not, your strand is not in the way. So little hack there. All right, I'm going to take my yarn. These are all 12 of my beautiful colors together. I'm going to get them all even, start at the same even starting place. And I need more coffee, or I've had too much because I cannot form words. You're gonna have them all even as possible. It's okay if you don't, you're trimming later. And I'm going to make sure I'm holding my journal, so I've got my nice little tying strand for later. Okay, beautiful. I lifted the camera for us. Okay, perfect. Hopefully I'm not too loud. So I'm gonna bring this over a little bit so my thumb doesn't get crazy hyper extended. I'm gonna hold my yarn strands, okay? Now, I've pre-cut this, so you're not gonna see me cut this because I want it to be ready for this tutorial. Now, make sure that you've got a nice hold on this up here. My yarn has been pre-cut because I wanted this tutorial to go, like, I didn't want to have to put things down and, struggle with having to film and cut at the same time. So we're going to wrap this. We're going to pull, make sure you're holding your yarn at the bottom. Make sure you're holding that yarn on the side that we're going to tie with. You're going to pull pretty taut, make it tight. So many jokes. And then we're gonna go 1, 2, get out of there, yarn, 3, because you're meeting at the bottom, so that's 3, and 4, and 5. Now for me, see I have little extra tails. For me, I'm holding the back. I like a pretty chunky tassel. if this is too much, you absolutely don't have to do this much, okay? So what we want to do before we tie, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my scissors here at the bottom, okay? You should probably never cut towards your hand, but guess what? I'm a rebel with so many causes. We are going to cut this. Wait a minute. Before you do that, look, Melly almost made a mistake. You're going to hold your yarn. You saw that mistake coming. You're going to hold your yarn on either side so it doesn't go anywhere. We are going to cut. So all the cuts are at the same end. Oh, that is so satisfying. Woo! That is satisfying. Okay. Now that we have all of our yarn here, you can kind of let go because your hand is cramping like mine. I'm going to hold this and I am going to bring my yarn strand back up. Okay. Now, what we want to do here, come here. I almost used a white piece of yarn so you could maybe see this better, but then you couldn't see it against the pages and that was annoying. So I'm just going to hold this with my hand. Normally you can do this a lot more easily, guys, but I'm having to do this honestly the more difficult way. So please don't do it you can lay this in your lap so the yarn doesn't go anywhere. I'm simply tying a double knot, okay? Once you tie this first one, you actually will be able to pick this up. Boom. Let's drop the book. Woohoo. Look at that. Now I like to tie it twice because tying it once ain't going to do nothing. And honestly, I would tie it 3 times. That's just personal. Give it a good tug. Oops. And give it maybe one more, a third one. Okay. You don't want this to fall into your tassel. Okay. We're going to use this to tie onto the scarf. All right. And I have a scarf already done, but I will mimic showing where to do this. But first, in order to get that classic poof up here, that little ball, which is so cute. Obviously this is a lot of tassel. We'll get there. We got to cut another piece of yarn. Okay. So you're going to want a piece of yarn. I like for the yarn to end up hanging all the way down. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with like a 20-inch piece of yarn because you're going to have excess and that's totally fine. So I'm going to take nice green yarn and this is probably more than 20 inches, but I don't care. All right, I'm going to move our book out of the way so I have a nice white surface here. Nice white and bright and light. Just lay this out. Decide how much poof you want. This is totally maker's choice. I like just a little bit because I'm about to trim a lot of this, okay? But kind of get it where you'd like. And all you gotta do is take these strands and tie them in a nice double or triple knot, whatever makes you feel the safest and most peaceful inside. Watch this. Oh, it's so cute. So cute. But watch how it just comes apart if I don't give it a nice pull and tug and snug. And we're gonna give it one more. And because I don't like ends coming undone, I go triple, baby. Let's triple it up. Okay. Now, see what I mean? Way more yarn than we need, but wouldn't you rather cut more off than you actually need? So what I had to pause. I had to go get my my actual finished scarf so I could show you kind of the vibe we're going for. So with the finished scarf, I mean, seriously guys, this is gonna be an eyeball situation. I'm gonna give you an approximate. I mean, you're talking about, this is great actually, width of my hand from maybe even a little bit over, width of my personal hand, obviously, from side to side, including the thumb. That's what I've done, okay? So you can get really fancy, and I know that there are those of you out there like, I am so getting the cutting pad, I am getting the rulers, I'm doing this, but you know what? It's the width of my hand because it's a scarf and it's kind of scrappy and I just like the randomness of it. But if we're gonna be doing that, we're about right here. For my hand, I'm about here, right? I'm gonna just literally not gonna cut my hand. So we'll take our hand and I'll just cut right along, kind of just past so you don't cut yourself. Please don't cut yourself, okay? That's bad, that's no bueno. I don't want you to cut yourself. Never a cool thing, never. that. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And honestly, for these, what I've done is these little like tie tassels, these on the sides, I will take them with my needle and I will insert them, put them on the needle, insert them through, and then kind of through the middle of here. So they're trapped within themselves, if that makes sense. And then they won't be sticking out right there. Now for finishing this off, I did not make a whole new scarf. Okay. You're going to have to forgive me. Is this about right? Look at that. That's pretty close. Those are pretty close. I actually made the little bubble a little bit bigger. See, it doesn't work the same every time. And you'll want to test this for yourself. But what you would do, we're going to pretend that's not there. So on the end of your scarf, you've got this little chain 2 space. Okay. And all you need to do is take one strand, pull through, and you're going to just tie these. You'd pretend there wasn't a tassel there, please. You would just take these and tie them flush and tight like 3 or 4 times to the end of the scarf, and voila, it's there. And again, I take the ties from the top that are left over and I will take a needle and push them through the center so that they're hidden nice and clean. So guys, you did it. You did it. That was a fumbly little tutorial, but you know what? We just keeping it real over here, and the end result still happened, and it's beautiful, and we have absolutely got some beautiful tassels for days and days. And I'm kind of a fan of this whole boho 70s vibe for tassels. Amen. I love it. Cheers, guys.